Welcome to the Psychic Traineeship. I'm your host, Gabrielle, better known as Gabs, and I'm a psychic medium, trance channeler, and psychic development teacher. And I help women all around the world reconnect to their divine, intuitive feminine and become certified psychics, Akashic record readers, and healers, all through my program called the Psychic Traineeship. So if you're ready to activate your inner psychic, you're in the right place. On this podcast, we're going to be talking about all things intuitive, psychics, mediums. We're going to be talking to special guests. We're going to be talking about astrology, numerology, human design, talking about what it's like to truly live a psychic life and how easy it gets to be, and how good it is when you're connected to your spirit team and how easy life flows. So if you're ready to quantum leap into your most intuitive selves, let's go. What are we waiting for? Let's dive in to this week's episode. Welcome to this week's episode. This week's episode is about how to stop fearing about your psychic abilities, right? Why is it that when we know there is something more, all of this fear comes up, right? And why are psychic abilities just so healing? So these are all the topics I'm going to cover in today's podcast. So if you're an empath, intuitive, lightworker, or starseed who's like, I know there's fucking more for me. I know I came here to do great things, and you can feel that, right? You can feel that in your fucking bones. You know that there was a bigger reason and purpose and mission, and you're like, yeah, but like I'm stuck. I don't know how to get to that version of myself. I do not know why I'm petrified. Right? And if this resonates with you, I'm going to explain to you how you can freaking move through this so quickly and why this fear and fucking resistance is coming up. And it probably feels like you're carrying something really big or heavy on your back. And the great news is that big or scary and heavy thing is actually there to be your greatest teacher, okay? Your lessons on earth are not here to punish you. You are in the mystery school of life, okay? And being psychic is a path you can walk to healing if you let yourself. If you let yourself overcome your fear and resistance, on the other side, you will receive deep healing and truth. Now, let me explain why. So when we know there's something more, we generally fall into confusion. I'm confused. I don't know how to speak to my guides. I don't know if this is really meant for me. I don't know if something bad's going to happen. I don't know if I'm going to run into a negative entity. Like, these are all of the stories I've heard hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of times as a psychic development teacher, right? But it depends your unconscious shadows. We live in a world, right? We live in this world. And I want you to just take a look at this world with me for a second. We live in a human oppressed world. Now, what do I mean by that? We have nothing else to blame other than ourselves, right? And I really know this is a hard pill to swallow, but I want you to take full radical responsibility. Not just for this lifetime, but all lifetimes. We are so scared of everything we don't understand, right? But the only people who've ever hurt humans are humans, right? And we take these unconscious beliefs and stories we've learned as child to be scared of what we don't know. And we've taken that and we put it in everything we don't know anything about. We get confused, we get unsure, we get panicked. That's how the human body responds. And I want to just normalize this for you. It is so perfectly okay to be scared of your gifts, okay? That is just part of the fucking journey of becoming psychic, having fear. And that fear isn't coming from the word psychic, and the fear isn't coming because you are going to run into something negative, right? The fear is coming from the unknown. And when we can look ourselves dead in the eyes, right, and go, shit, I'm probably scared of running into another version of myself, right? If you guys don't know, I am a psychic development teacher who actually doesn't believe in negativity. I believe people manifest negative energy inside of their own selves, inside of their auric field, inside of their energy. But I've never met a maleficent being in all the years I've been psychic, in all the years I've done mediumship, right? I have, and I'm not saying I haven't been scared, right? That's very different. I've been scared. When I was 17, my mother took me to my first psychic. She didn't know what else to do with me. And that psychic was like, you have a being attached to you. And he gave me a name, and I could find his name in the newspaper of where he passed away very close to me. And I had a deep soul contract with this past loved one. And I call him a loved one now. I didn't know him in real life. He was my age and he lived a very similar life to me. And when he passed away, I was very close. Like we were literally like 3 streets away. Right. And that's how he found me. But we had a contract. He was the first being that ever showed me that I was psychic. And boy, was I shit scared of him when I found out. I was like, oh my God, there's an entity attached to me. Like, what am I going to do? Like, can you heal that? And then at the time, I didn't understand. I was projecting my fears of how we view being psychic is the lens in which we can see it. And I had never met a fucking empowered psychic in my life. I've met all the psychics who have been like, shroud yourself in white light and protect yourself from negative energy. And oh my gosh, like it's really hard. And being a psychic is really fucking draining and it takes all my energy. Right? So imagine here I am, 17 years old with my first ever negative energy. Fuck, it was a bad experience. Only because I was seeing it through that lens. And now as I look back, I go, fuck, that was a cool experience. Not because he was hurting me in any way. Was he just hanging around? So I knew that I was the creator of my reality and I am so fucking powerful that I can sense energy I can't see. Because as a part of me, I am part of the creator. I'm part of the universe. Everything that ever has been is a part of you. That is why they say you are the stars incarnate. You are the universe incarnate. You are source incarnate. There is a part of the God essence inside of you. And if you don't like that word, let's substitute it for you. Right? And when we have those experiences, they generally come off negative. But they're not negative, right? They are absolutely incredible experiences that you have soul contracts. So you actually get to learn the fuck about yourself, right? But because the media, because we have really famous psychics who still talk about it, draining them and hurting them because they're not yet fully in their power, remembering their divine fucking truth. Like, we are the universe incarnate. Anything we're fucking experience is because of a limiting belief or a story or some bullshit we tell ourselves. Like, if we want to manifest a Jeep, you also manifest the current house you live in and the current amount of money in your bank account. We can't have one or the other. We get to have both. And that is the most empowering thing we can have. When we realize we are the creator, right? Every bullshit excuse we ever had falls away. Because everything that's ever been in my life is I gave it to myself, right? At some level, I planned this. At some level, this was divine. And that goes for your psychic abilities. They don't manifest to make life hard. They manifest to empower the shit out of you. So you never have to walk alone. So you remember you can actually be omnipresent in this life. You can sit down and experience other things in this reality outside of your body. Like, how cool is that? You're remembering that you can see other timelines. You can understand yourself more than this lifetime. And if in this lifetime you have confusion, your psychic gifts will bring you fucking clarity, right? They're going to empower you to know what to do next. Right? A psychic isn't about predicting the future, right? They totally do that. But their truest gift, being psychic, is choosing to be a universal mirror for other people's shit, right? For other people's stories. And in that mirror, you're part of the mirror too. So you're learning your divine truth. You're learning your divine lessons. You're healing yourself through this experience, right? And when we become psychic, this fear comes up. And you're like, Gabs, I'm feeling this. Like, I know what you're talking about. I went through this. But what's next, Gabs? So I've helped hundreds of people accept their psychic gifts and alchemize their current stories into a full life career, right? You actually realize at some point on this journey, if you ever choose to walk it, that your intuition is only leading you towards the highest good. And totally, you might have to take some really fucking hard detours along the way, right? You might have to take some really hard detours along the way. Our biggest pains turn into our greatest gifts. They show you what's uncomfortable. They show you that you can hold more. They show you that you're capable, right? And when we're psychic, we're being confronted with that. I am capable. I can do this. I can be scared of the unknown, but do it anyway, right? And that is the calling of a psychic. It's not to help others, but it's to claim for ourselves. We are the creator. We are aware and we are more powerful than we know because we can see and feel the unseen realms. We drop the veils and we connect. And the deepest truth that comes in is oneness, right? You may have experienced that feeling if you've ever connected to your spirit team, or you know when someone passes away and you feel them just as if they're crossing through, as if to say, can you please let everyone know I'm okay? Whether that be through dreams, whether that be through a meditation, whether that be through breath work, these are psychic activations. Anytime you feel oneness, you've opened yourself up energetically to receive unconditional love. Now, this is the next thing in psychic development I help my clients face, is how the fuck do you hold unconditional love? Because I did not learn that on the earth plane. Like, my love here has been very conditional. So can you imagine your life for a second and you just learn to unlock unconditional love? What is your body gonna probably do? Freak out. Do, right? Mine did. I was like, shit, is it really this easy? Can I really be so easily validated by spirit? Can spirit show me every day how good it is? Can you imagine going from living a life of chaos to every day getting up, sitting with spirit, and feeling this unconditional love? When I first started, I could not hold that amount of love and energy for more than 2 minutes at a time. And I would always be like, I wish I could get more. I just wish it would get clearer. And I didn't realize back then because I hadn't done any of the shadow work, right? I didn't understand that being psychic is about the somatic experience of the body. We are not psychic in our heads, we are psychic in our body, guys. Like, this is where your intuition comes from, your body. I want you to hold it, right? I want you to feel it. I want you to love it. If you don't love the vessel, think about how hard it is for love to come to you from the other side. And this is why I say so many people get psychic development wrong, right? And I'm not saying that to say my way's the only way. My way's worked for hundreds of people, right? And it is coming into the body, realizing that, as I've spoken about, we project this fear of the unknown onto our spirit guides. And then we get this unconditional love. We don't even know what to do. Because unconditional love is fucking overwhelming. If you've never experienced true unconditional love, it's like holding a newborn baby. And you know, the first time you ever held a newborn baby, and you're like, oh my gosh, am I gonna drop it? Oh my gosh, like, is that how I hold the baby correctly? Like, look at it in its beauty. Smell the baby and feel the energy, right? It's overwhelming, it's intoxicating. Tears start to roll down your eyes, and you feel overwhelmed with how big and small we are at the same time. And that is the frequency we learn to hold when we are psychic, is true bliss, true presence, just true love, right? We're learning to hold pure love, right? And that is so challenging because we live in a conditional world. A lot of us only feel we're good if we have X, Y, and Z, whether it be the house, the home, the kids, the career, the job. When we meet someone, we go, "Hi, how are you? What do you do for work?" Right? But we're not those things because unconditional love should come so easy. And that is the truest gift of being psychic, is understanding. And everyone's different. And there's going to be people listening to this podcast, and I'm going to love the shit out of you, who believe in negative energy, right? Who believe there is toxicity outside of this world, who believe that there's other beings from other worlds coming to oppress us. And that's so perfect, right? In my practice, I take radical responsibility for myself. And that is how I do psychic development. Because the only reason we're not psychic is because it's hard for us who believe that life gets to be so fucking good, that it gets to be so simple, because our intuition is the pathway that can lead us to our happiest, healthiest, most wealthiest, truest, divine, joyful self, right? We forget it gets to be that good because we're disconnected, we're tired, we're overworked, we're understimulated by nature and by the things that naturally light us up, like grounding or spending the day by the river or going to a waterfall. You know, those moments when you're in nature and your body just goes, wow, shit, that's incredible. This is what we're deprived on. And when we have those moments, you know what's knocking at your door? Your intuition going, life is meant to be good, babe. Life is meant to be so fucking easy, and you're meant to feel so inspired and so turned on and so fucking happy, right? But we forget. We totally forget, because the programming we received from the Matrix, which needs to be a whole other podcast episode, right? Teaches us that everything we don't know is scary. Everything we don't understand isn't true. Everything we can't see isn't real. And that's the opposite of psychic development, right? And psychic development, when we receive this unconditional love, do you know what it does to you? I want you to imagine right now a beautiful, clean sponge you just bought from the cleaning aisle at your local supermarket. And I want you to imagine you're cleaning out a cup of cacao without any water, and you just dunked this sponge into some ceremonial cacao. Now you're going to hold that sponge up, and then we're going to give this sponge a chakra system and a channel. So the chakra system is going to run from the top of the sponge to the bottom of the sponge, and the channel runs in between, right? So the channel always holds our chakras, and this is why we have to do channel work to support our channel, which will then support our chakra system, which too could be its own podcast. But I want you to start imagining there's this beautiful white light coming down this sponge's channel, okay? And what the fuck happens? We're getting beautiful white light coming in and down, and it's starting to push out the murkiness through the sponge. The sponge is starting to get cleaner. Now, this is what automatically happens when you learn how to connect to source energy. And I'm not saying spirit guides, I'm not saying mediumship, I'm not saying do psychometry, I'm not saying do a specific thing. I'm saying if you can sit down, learn how to use your channel, learn to open your chakras, and actually get into a deep place of surrender. And these are the 4 basic psychic development steps that I teach in my program, right? You then start to receive this natural healing energy. I am totally saying to you that psychic development is a natural healing modality, 110%. I sure am, right? Because that's what it does. It starts to wash away every low frequency, and it starts to give you messages on how to raise your frequency, right? Because it wants to support you. And in this world, in this experience, we have people in our lives who probably don't feel like they lift us up. And a lot of you guys who follow this account, the guys who you're on my email list who are following this page, I know you. I know that you are at the top of your apex of people. How do I know that? Because light workers are at the top of the apex of their people. And what does that mean exactly? That means that you are the helper. You're the one people come to. You're the one who takes responsibility deeper. You're the one who always says, let me help, right? And if that is you and you're ready to step into that truth you already know you have, right? You have a truth. You are here to lead, to heal, to show the way, right? This is your path. This is your truth. And if you want to walk down this path, if you want to naturally heal, if you want to naturally be connected to oneness, if you want to work on your shadow so there is no more negativity in your life, you can, right? Being psychic and a healer and a leader in this realm has nothing to do with the people we are. Because the first and foremost responsibility is, if I'm being psychic for myself, I'll just show up for the person like I show up for myself. And that's called being an embodied psychic, right? And so often people learn to become psychic to protect themselves from negative energy, or they become psychic because something's annoying them. And we project these ideas onto our spirit team and onto our ancestors. And we say, oh my gosh, I have a negative energy, right? And we're coming to psychic development from such a negative place. And this whole podcast episode is meant to remind you that your psychic development isn't just about, I'm going to sneeze. That was cute. I'm normally a very loud sneezer. But it isn't about helping others. It's about self first. It's about becoming self-centered, self-balanced, self-aware, right? And this is why I am always saying to you guys on the podcast, being psychic isn't about meditation. Being psychic is so much more. It is a portal to heal your shadow. It is a portal for you to understand and bring in divine love into this world, to be that star seed that's here to spread the fucking light. Like, can you love your life? That is the truest gift of psychic development. That is the core truth. It's not here to make you have a career, though you totally can. And I've watched so many of my clients start businesses and absolutely get to love what they do, right? But imagine how it will actually change your life. So I'm going to loop back to the start of this podcast episode. I was trying to say to you, if you're scared, if you have resistance to being psychic, it is the easiest way to know you're meant to be a psychic. Why? Because you incarnated with a shadow, or you built the shadow in this lifetime. We only came to the mystery school of life to fuck around and to find out, right? And I invite you to question your shadow, right? Do you have a psychic wound? Do you have a witch wound? Do you have something? It's there for a reason. It's not meant to hurt you. It's trying to call you to action. Like, hey, see me, right? Spirit literally say to me all the time, anything that feels hard had to be that way because you didn't receive it in love first. And if you didn't receive it in love first, you turned it into a negative, because we only have two dualities, good or bad or neutral. I like neutral. Neutral is my preferred method of living. But most of the time, we only have positive and negative if we haven't learned to build neutrality yet, right? So this is why shit is hard. Not to test you. Do tests. That's a human construct. We went to school, we got tests, we had to prove we were enough. Spirit's like, bro, whatever you do in this mystery school, I'm going to be proud of you. And here we are like, oh my God, it's so hard. Like, why are they doing this to me? Like, they're not doing it to you. They want to fucking love the shit out of you, Spirit. They don't want to make it hard, but your internal monologue is choosing to see what they say to you as a test. Or because you're not connected, it's a test. Like, I got to do all this work to get connected. No. Becoming psychic is remembering you are so much more than your human vessel. Becoming psychic is remembering that it gets to be easy. Becoming psychic is having an inner compass to guide you so you never feel confused anymore. Becoming psychic is a way of living. And honestly, I would never live my life without my intuition. Because otherwise, I would just be making my life so fucking difficult for myself. I will never go back to that confused Gabs who's like, I don't know what to do with my life. Right? And it was a constant story every month. It's like, what healer could I go to? What blocks do I have coming up? How do I fix this? And how do I stay on? How do I have devotion to self? You don't need a mindset coach. You don't need all of these things. You don't need to do 150 courses. Spirit is trying to remind you how brilliant you are. And if you're seeing synchronicities like angel numbers, or you ask for a sign, like mine is my initials GB, which a lot of you know from the old podcast, but also I have another one, which are those bugs that flash lights at night. I don't know what they're called and I can't think of the word, but I had one visit me this week and it was just so beautiful. If you're getting signs and angel numbers and knowing that your spirit is close, this is not a test. This is a call to action. Do you want to be of assistance? Do you want to serve humanity? Do you want to enjoy the fuck out of your life while you do it? Do you want to bring joy? Spirit is not testing you. Spirit is asking you, how much work do you want to put in? How much time do you want to put in so you can enjoy every minute of the rest of your life? So I'm going to leave that with you. So before I jump off, I just have a few community announcements for this week's podcast. Every single month, I do a free online session, right? And these sessions are for the community of this podcast or anyone on my Instagram, anyone in my email list. If you feel alone in your journey, I want you to stop. Like, I want you to take a break right now and I want you to run to my website, right? The link will be in the show notes, but it's gabriellebentley.com, right? And I want you to go to the community tab, right? And I want you to join the community, right? Because in this community, I'm holding a 2-hour sisterhood connection ceremony, right? In November. And we're going to meet with people from all over the world. Like, I already work in 2 time zones. My program, my certification program is run for Australia, New Zealand, and America and Canada, right? People from all over the world are on this platform with you and they want to connect and they want to make friends and they want to have soul sisters, right? So I am running a free session to help you find your tribe. And it's called Clear Your Psychic Vision. I'm also going to show you how to tap into this universal oneness, right? So that is on November 29th. So run, come and join the sisterhood. Come and learn how to get clearer on your intuition. Come and meet your soul sisters and come and connect. Because this journey isn't meant to be alone, babe. This journey isn't meant to be alone. I don't want you to be alone. I want you to be supported. And that's why I make this podcast. So for those who are listening, if you could send this podcast to someone you feel like it could inspire them, that would mean the absolute world to me. But if you could leave a review for this podcast on iTunes or Spotify, on YouTube, the Psychic Traineeship to help us find more people, that would mean the absolute fucking world to me. because this is my mission to help remind you of how fucking powerful you are and how inside of each of us is the code of our intuition that we're waiting to reawaken in this lifetime, in the age of Aquarius, to remember our brilliance, to remember our divine truths, right? So thank you for tuning in. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being part of this community, because honestly, you are the reason I am making this podcast, and I want you to know that. I want to help you get to where you want to be. I hope this inspired you. But until next week, I'll see you soon. Hey, gorgeous soul. I just wanted to take a moment and say a heartfelt thank you for tuning into this podcast. Your energy and your presence, it means the world to me. If you've been enjoying these podcasts, I have a small favor to ask, and it only takes a few minutes, but it makes a huge difference. If you would leave a review or share your thoughts, it would help us find our tribe and continue spreading this beautiful, empowering work. Your feedback helps more like-minded souls discover our community, and it inspires me to keep creating content that resonates deeply with you. So if you're feeling the love, please hit that review button. Let's grow this community together, continue to uplift, inspire, and transform. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being part of this journey with me. I can't wait to connect with you again in the next episode. But until then, I want to remind you there is a community here. If you jump to my website, join our community, come to the free monthly activations or masterclasses. And don't forget, in the community hub, there is a question and answers channel. And if you've ever wanted a podcast on a specific thing, or you've wanted to drop a question, go drop it in there. I want to make this podcast specifically for you. I want you to learn what you want to know, and I want you to become the best psychic you can be. And I'm just along for the journey. So go drop your questions, and I'm going to see you next week.